Good evening, greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP. Greetings from the Institute of Global Professional IGP. Thank you all for joining us and staying with us till the end. Honorable Knowledge Seeker, today I am your host for the evening. My name is Bathum Dash. I am from Bangladesh. Dear Knowledge Seeker, I am proud to be associated with IGP. IGP is the Social and ISRP International Educational and Training Institute. In last years, we already served 35 million plus knowledge seekers from 100 plus countries. IGP is internationally recognized and globally accredited. We are connected to more than 450 plus profession and 4,500 plus organization. Institute of Global Professional is an education institute that provides social work globally recognized and reportable. We serve student community resource providing holistic social work and education. We believe that it's not effective to increase one skill just by offering formal education. So we provide effective training and consultation to generate proficient generation all over the world. We distribute our services locally, nationally, internationally to students, job seeker, job holder, and also for learners, the respective campus location and distance learning platform. We are an occupational and dependable institute. IGP is one of the famous online institutes from all over the world. Our vision is education is not a business product. It's a part of our human rights. Based on our vision, we are trying to reach all corners of the world for free webinars, seminar courses, awards, quiz competition, mentoring, counseling, etc. On the other side, we are also trying to offer more than 100 premium services for free, like create own portfolio website, resume builder, cover letter, motivation letter, and wellness platform for gathering general knowledge which can help with all day. Kids learning game website, free course, combat sites, and many more. We help to empower you to learn to meet their expectation and dream and become highly skilled people. We implement several training program, webinar, and offline online courses for youth and learner by professional trainers, speaker, and coaches. Our sessions are conducted by global linear professional to develop all kind of youth and promote the education of their abilities and personality. Speaking knowledge is crucial for the state of global professional. We believe that knowledge is love and light and vision. So we try to understand the needs of today's generation and we serve them with research and practice method. We must have a genuine concern for the learner we present. More diversity, growth, and innovation are required to lead a session with professionalism, passion, and integrity. IGP members are committed to offering effective best quality service and continual improvement so that individuals who seek information can improve their skill level and hello. Before we move to the next, let me remind, don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. The support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Before we move to the next, let me remind, don't forget to share, tag, and mention your friend in the comment box. Your support is very valuable for us. Thank you. Moving to the next, with your continuous support. We already completed 2002 webinars successfully. Moving to the next, with your continuous support, we already completed 2002 webinars successfully. Dear IGP speaker, participant, and well-wisher, at this moment is a very important message for you all. We change and design our website www.edurgp.com. On this website, we have surprise for everyone. Hope you will be benefited. We already launched our new website how you can find all our previous activities together with lots of new features. But one strong point is that without an account logged in, you cannot enjoy our service. So create your account for once with profile information. Note that with profile information, you'll enjoy all feature. With mismatched data, you cannot do anything here. From now on, you have to participate in live quiz competition on our website. You replace slide, you have to join directly on our website. Now you can check all of our previous webinars with verified certificate. Now it's easier and time limited because after the session, we will not provide you any code for certification. You have to take part in one exam. For that, if you pass, you will receive the certificate, otherwise not. But you can take an exam unlimited till you pass. If you're an IGP speaker, you can download all your previous certificate, speakership certificate. If you're a host of IGP, you can download the certificate of gratitude. If you're an online live quiz competition winner, you can download the certificate of participation. If you are selected for a lifetime membership, then you can download a certificate of lifetime membership easily. Besides this, if you participate in an award function which organizes common support with IGP, you can download that also. You can actually prepare and download 18 types of certificate from our website within a minute. Certificate of global professional membership, certificate of global interest in the pandemic, certificate of active knowledge seeker, certificate of social activities in the pandemic, certificate of achievement IGP knowledge engagement 2020, 2021, and 2022, certificate of participation in series 1. Authentic assessment in teaching learning, certificate of participation witnesses to teaching English as foreign language and assessment. Certificate of participation witnesses 3. Digital classroom engagement tool, certificate of participation witnesses 4. New trend in education, certificate of participation witnesses 5. Upskill leadership and management skills, certificate of participation witnesses 6. Trend and innovation in mathematics education, certificate of participation witnesses 7. Research comprehension approach, certificate of participation witnesses 8. Upskill leadership and skills, certificate of participation witnesses 9. 21st century tooling teaching mathematics, certificate of IGP corporate ambassador, certificate of IGP campus ambassador, which you can prepare and download within a minute. From now on, you can participate in 1000+ international level quiz with verified certificate. Teaching for teacher, health is for parents, health is for teens, education tools for teacher. You can join IGP alumni. You can check out our press services website for free and many more. Dear IGP well-wisher, we promised previously the leg of technical problem will late sending you on time. This is great opportunity to collect your previous condition solved all issues from our website. Now you can enroll, reset password, everything. You check out the rule for all webinar details. It's a cordial request to check all button and pages on our website. Share, like, and say you will be benefited. Thank you. But note that without an account or logged in, you cannot enjoy our services. At present, we are going to start our 2003 webinar, which name is Engagement in Teaching English, and today our speaker ma'am name is Rizka Safriani. She is from Indonesia. Before I hand over this to our speaker ma'am, I'll share a little bit about her assistant, Professor Yuni Sunan Ampel, Surabaya, Indonesia. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with his presentation. Now, very important moment for me to invite our speaker to IGP with his presentation. Hello, ma'am. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you? Good evening, everyone.
I'm fine, ma'am. How are you, ma'am?
I'm good. Thank you. Glad to see you all.
Ma'am,
Okay.
please present your presentation.
Okay. Thank you for starting the sessions. Okay. So, good evening, everyone from Indonesia. I'm happy to see you all. My name is Rizka Safriani from Ubin Sunan Ampel, Surabaya, one of the biggest city in Indonesia, and I'm happy to see you all this evening in Indonesian time. And today, I would like to share some ideas about engagement in teaching English. Okay, shall I share my slide now?
Yes, ma'am. You can share the
Or the
presentation now.
second? Thank you. So let's start our session by having some ideas about engagement in teaching English. Okay, can you see my screen now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so when we talk about engagement in teaching English, we are having some opportunity to develop the dynamic and interactive method, particularly for teaching the foreign language, especially English. So before I talk a lot about the engagement and teaching English, let me introduce a bit about my country, about my university. So I'm from UIN Sunan Ampel Surabaya, or State Islamic University of Sunan Ampel Surabaya, one of the best Islamic State University in Indonesia, and we are located at Surabaya, the second biggest city in Indonesia. So if you are keen on our programs in the university, you could visit our website uwinsa.acid, because we provide a lot of opportunity for having international free uh, courses. Yeah. Okay, so talking about the engagement within the session, I would like to talk about five different topics. First, we will start with the definition of engagement itself, the scope, and then several theories that are dealing with the engagement itself, and then several factors that influence the engagement in teaching English, and some practices, current practices for developing the engagement, and also talking about the implication of the engagement itself to the pedagogical aspect of our teaching and learning process. Well, okay, so ladies and gentlemen, I have two pictures on my screen. Well, let's have a look on the first picture. Okay, so have you got this sort of experience in your classroom when you were in probably in the university, in the senior high school? Sometimes we can see this sort of picture. Many students are lazy, they do not feel engaged, they are tired of listening, and these pictures are commonly happen in our classroom if you do not really put a good strategy to engage the students. If we compare to the second picture, we see that many students are happy. Many students are actively share their ideas, and many people are smiling within the teaching and learning process. So what can be inferred from these two pictures? There are several elements that we need to highlight, particularly to promote the engagement within the teaching and learning process. We see there are some keywords that should be developed. We have participation, we have to build the connection, we have to address the interest, we have to develop the fun learning as well as the collaborations. If we could address those issues, we do believe that engagement could promote an exceptional learning and teaching process. Another pictures that may be related to the engagement in teaching English is about the type of assessment. On the first picture, we have a paper-based assessment where we usually use pencil and paper or pen to directly address the questions. While on picture 4, we have the computer-based assessment, computer-based quiz, where it promotes an opportunity for the students to get a direct feedback. It will promote some excitement and a very automated feedback that can be gained after we chose the answers. If we compare the four pictures, we see that there are key points of an engagement itself. So engagement in teaching refers to the active and the meaningful involvement of the students. By promoting the active and also the meaningful involvement of the students through every process, every assessment, every stages of the teaching and learning, it can build the students' participation as well as building and fostering a connection between the teachers and the students. Of course, when we create a teaching and learning strategy, we need to consider several factors such as their curiosity, the enthusiasm for the subject. If we teach English, make sure that students are keen on the topic related to English. We also need to develop their enthusiasm about the English itself. So, by looking at this particular element, we need to also have a look on the way to promote critical thinking for the students. If students could think critically and they could collaborate with peers, of course, they could take some valuable message within the teaching and learning process. Well, we see that in a picture, for example, interactive learning, stimulation, and stimulating learning environment are critical. If we do not provide the students with the interesting learning environment, if we do not design our lesson that can capture students' interest, that can meet the student interest, as well as if we do not provide diverse instructional method, there will be some students that can be demotivated, just like the first picture that we have shared just now. Some students will feel uh, unrelated or probably disengaged. It involves not only intellectual investment but also the emotional investment from the students. That's why in teaching we need to really carefully address not only intellectual assessment but also the emotional engagement from the students. With this consideration, we can choose carefully activities which can accommodate the engagement itself. We can use lively discussions just like now. We can have interactive analysis. And of course, we need to have a hand-on activities. Well, looking at some reference, the theoretical foundations that we can refer, basically we have 5 levels of engagement. The first level, the lowest level, is the rebellion, where we do not have a demonstration of learning. So we say it that it belongs to the zero demonstration of learning. There is no learning process because the students will not involve. There will be some disruption. Maybe the student will leave the class. The second level is retreatism. Retreatism means little to no effort. They may stay in the classroom, but they have no effort. They have no affection, they have no interest in the content. Probably they just sit, but they are thinking about something else. Moving to another steps of the engagement, we have ritual complaints. So ritual complaints is just like a minimal effort where students just come and sit. They have no creativity. Everything is just working as an ordinary thing. They have no curiosity to get something new within the teaching and learning process. Moving forward, we have strategic compliance, where the students could have some clear effort, some creativity, and then they can focus on direction as well as doing task completion. And of course, we can see their motivation. And the highest level of the engagement itself is the C or the existence of sustained inquiry, self-direction, playfulness with the content, and also unprompt transfer of understanding. By promoting analytical thinking, by promoting engagement activities, we do hope that our teaching and learning process, particularly in English language teaching, could reach the engagement level. So, providing discussion, analyzing text which suitable or address their need, as well as creatively expressing themselves through writing, can help the students to develop not only the linguistic competence but also the critical thinking and the communication skills. Well, if we can have the active engagement in English education, we will believe that we can help the students to foster their passion for learning the language. They can foster their passion to learn literature, as well as we can foster their interest to explore different perspectives toward the language learning and also the storytelling. Well, after we know about the level of the engagement, we can have a look on the famous theoretical frameworks that underlie the engagement itself. We can have constructivism. So, what is constructivism? So, constructivism itself poses that students will actively construct the knowledge, because when the student actively construct the knowledge through the interaction with their environment, students will get something new. They will involve, they will engage, and they can work collaboratively in learning the language. They can also collectively create meaning, and they can also collaboratively discuss diverse perspectives. So if we see the comparison between the traditional classroom and also the constructivist classroom, we see that constructivist classroom promote active and independent as well as group work. In terms of the working style, we can have a look on the sharing process within the decision making between the teachers and the students. If we look at the assessment, constructivist classroom promote different types of assessment. They can have conferences, they can have daily work, they can have portfolios and assignment. And constructivist classroom again facilitate the students with a different study materials. They can have book, they can have real world scenarios, they can have journals and also workshop methodology. So here, constructivist classroom really promote and facilitate the engagement learning. We can not only learn the language but also can learn another subject by applying constructivist classroom. Another theoretical frameworks that may be reflected to develop the engagement in learning are commonly popular as an experiential learning. So the experiential learning itself is a theory or an approach where it promotes the hands-on experience for effective learning. It means that they could actively work. They can do role playing. They can do real world application of language skill where they can experience the learning by themselves. This is very important because by applying experiential learning and constructivism, students will be the center of the learning. Most of the teaching and learning process will not be teacher centered, it will become the student centered. So by implying these two big theory, we see that engagement will really measure the participation between teachers and the students, and it can promote and enhance their ability to participate and to foster a dynamic learning environment. Well, working with the two theories, there are 5E that may be used as the foundation of the engagement in teaching English. We have the first E, we have engage. And then the second E, we have explore. The third E, we can have explain. The fourth E, we can have elaborate. And the last E, we can have evaluate. These 5E will be the foundation for us to promote engagement in the teaching and learning process. So what is engage? So engage means an activity that captures students' attention and can stimulate their thinking. We can start or build the students' engagement by promoting the how and the why questions to the students. By asking how and why, the teacher will create a problems to be answered by the students. In this part, we can involve the students to use different methods to solve the problem, to develop the critical thinking by using different types of activities such as jigsaw. We can have a, a top power of tool. We can have another cooperative learning method, group investigation, for example, to have new insight or new inquiry about the information that need to be learned. Now we are moving to the second E where we have explore. So exploration here, it means that we provide the students with the time to think, to plan, and to investigate as well as to organize the informations, such as providing the students with opportunity to create their own presentation. They can collect information at the internet. They can use many resources to have some new product or new project that can be presented to address the issue promoted by the teacher in the classroom. Looking at the third E, we have explain, where it provides the opportunity for the students to connect their previous experience and to make conceptual sense of their topic to the real world situations. So they will discover the relationship between the problems and the current situations. They can have concept mapping, they can put an organization of information by using different mind map application. We can have bubbles, we can have cockle, where students could put a information in an organized way by using some concept maps. The fourth E, we can focus on the elaborations where students could apply or extend some concepts to the new situation, and they will apply those knowledge into a new skills. For example, when we can have a problem solving teaching, we can also have surface learning where we go to the community to apply the knowledge, the concept that we learn in the classroom, and share it to the community. In this type of activity, students will have an opportunity to develop and to elaborate their experience to the new situation. And last but not least, the last E is evaluate, where students with the teachers could review and assess what they have learned and how they learn it. Sometimes we use a summative assessment for promoting engagement, just like the fourth picture in the previous slide, where we have an online quiz. We can engage the students, evaluate the students to see whether they have got the concept, whether they have got an understanding and a great comprehension toward the topic that we have shared in the classroom. So, what are the influencing factors that promote the engagement? So, based on the literature that we have read so far, there are two part of factors that may influence the students' engagement. First, we have the direct factors, and we also have indirect factors. So, for the direct factors, 4 points are commonly influence the engagement. We have the learning resources. We also have the teaching competency, the knowledge base, and also the learning style for the students. So when a teacher use a particular teaching method and pedagogical approach, students will be directly affected by the choices of the strategy. That's why when we choose a particular teaching strategy, we have to make sure that the strategy should be interactive and student centered so that we can accommodate different type of learner. When we talk about the learning resources, we believe that resources will be beneficial as well as engaging if the resources are up to date and also related to the students' interests. If we do not know the students' interests, there will be an opportunity for the teachers to gain limited interest for the students since the topic that the teacher bring in the classroom do not really uh, related to their needs and also their interests. Students may not be familiar with the current trend in research because they are not working with the research, but they will enjoy some articles about music, for example, or sports because they like to listen to the music and also watching sports, international sports program. So in this type of example, we see that learning resources will be one of the direct factors that may influence the students' engagement. Talking about the knowledge base, it will be related to the inclusive teaching practice as well, where we see that inclusive classroom is important and need to be addressed with different teaching methods because they have different types of learners and we need to accommodate diverse learning needs and background. And when we talk about this issue, we will not leave the learning style of the students as we may be familiar with the learning style. We see that every student may have different learning styles. Some of them may be visual, some of them may be auditory learner, some of them may be kinesthetic learner, and it will be important for the teachers to accommodate different learning style with a different teaching methodology. When we talk about the indirect factors, we also have social network. We also have teaching context as well as the technology. Well, technology may influence the engagement, particularly for the students or teachers who can provide technology at school to make the lesson more engaging and interactive. But of course, we have to realize not all regions may have modern technology in the classroom. So that's why we uh, conclude that technology may become the indirect factors. Even though we have the technology, but the teachers do not choose a good teaching method, I guess the impact of the engagement itself will not be that great. The class size and the interaction will be the representation of teaching context, where if we have a very big class size, the interaction may become limited or challenging. So we need to control the number of students in the classroom. So smaller class sizes usually will be more engaged and easier to be managed. Teachers could give more personalized attention to the students, and also it can lead to the improvement of the participation level. Next, we can have a innovative teaching practice by promoting the technology. We can have flipped classroom, project-based learning, gamification, and so forth. And by combining all of these, we do believe that the use of supporting learning environment will provide a big advantage for the teachers and the students to have an engaging learning process. But do not forget that teachers should manage the time effectively, because we do not really want to lose the opportunity to reach the learning objective within the teaching and learning process. Yeah. And last but not least, feedback and reflection is critical, because without feedback and reflections, students are not really able to grab the value of the learning itself. So it can be summarized that when we talk about engagement in teaching learning, particularly in English teaching, we can focus on the sensory learning opportunity. We can have visual stimulation, we can have auditory element, we can also have kinesthetic activities. So we can use images, videos, infographic to aid comprehension. We can also use music. We can also use video. We can have storytelling. We can have pronunciation exercises as the way to accommodate auditory sensory learning. And we can also have kinesthetic activities where it can incorporate movement and tactile experience into lessons for active participation. Since technology is critical, we can combine this three sensory stimulation to the interactive language games. There are some activities that can be used in promoting interactive language game as an effort to promote engagement in teaching English. We can have vocabulary challenges. We can also have scavenger hunt. We can have word walls or bingo. We can also have language puzzles, for example, anagrams, crosswords, and also code breaking activities. And for sure, if we want to immerse the student with a real life situation, we can have role play and simulations. So there are a lot of websites that can be used to promote a interactive vocabulary activities. For example, this one. So we can have a spelling session promoted by British Council here. So I provide you with some vocabulary quiz that can be used in teaching English. You can scan the QR code and then you can go directly to the British Council website where it will provide you with some free exercises in vocabulary learning. Both quiz are engaging and I do believe that students will love it very much. Since we have different types of technology integration to promote the engagement, there will be three elements that we need to have a look on the technology integrations. We need to pay attention to the online learning platform. We have to pay attention to the language learning apps, and we need also pay attention to the virtual reality experiences. So one of the way to make an interactive learning, we can achieve that interactive learning by promoting creative project-based learning. So what can we do? What kind of project that we can make to promote the engagements? The first project that we can facilitate to promote the engagement is by having language showcases. We can ask the students to create presentation. We can ask the students to exhibit presentation promoting language and cultural awareness. Once we did with our students, to ask the students to create their a presentation on their local culture. As in the university level, sometimes we have students from a different cultural uh, origin, so they can share the traditional food, their traditional a traditional food, or probably artworks or any other aspects that are related to the cultural awareness that may be used to foster their critical thinking and explore their language ability to produce the language in a written or in the spoken form. Another way to make an interactive project-based learning is by having multimedia collaborations where we can ask the students to assign project involving video creation. We can have them to have podcast production as well as digital storytelling. And in this digital era, I guess most students, I'm not saying all students, but most students will be familiar with smartphone and they can do it easily. They can make a video creation in less than 5 minutes. But the idea is they can choose the proper language to have their multimedia collaboration. They can have their own podcast. They can record their podcast. They can use online podcast production and then share the link to us. And we'll see the ability to present their project in a digital format, and we have to address the issue that they could bring a lot of benefits for the development of their language awareness. And last activity that we can have probably for the project-based learning is to have a cross-curricular connection. So we integrate the language learning with the art, music, science, and other subjects for holistic learning. We can have a collaborative presentation together with the other courses. So we can have using arts for learning English, song for teaching English, probably science project, and so forth. So this three creative project-based learning will be beneficial for the teachers to engage the students, particularly in teaching and learning process. But when we use the three example of project-based learning, we need to make sure that we need to also facilitate the effective communication practice, because without communication practice, the engagement cannot be built simply. They need to have a conversational pair work, because by using conversational pair work, they will have speaking and listening skill encouragement. We can have dialogue, we can have debates, we can also have interview as an example of effective communication practice. We can also have the students to have a public speaking opportunities to foster their confidence with speech presentations, as well as the storytelling and the persuasive speaking tasks. And last but not least, to promote collaborative learning, to share idea and critical thinking, they can have group discussion and debate. Several practices that we can also develop for promoting engagement in teaching English is using contextual and cultural exploration. We can talk about travel and the language. We can talk about historical narrative. We can talk about global tradition, the festival, the tradition, the historical event about a specific history on your country, on your region. So the students could, let's say, reformat and reshare the information with their own understanding and with their own creativity. After they create their project, after they create their product, after they create their presentation, we need to make sure that the feedback and the reflection practices are addressed, are integrated to the teaching and learning process. Why? Because when we have feedback and reflective reflection practices with the students, they will have some awareness about the ability to develop the knowledge. There are several ways that we can use to do feedback and reflection practices. First, we can have self assessment tools. We can provide a survey, we can have a self checklist to provide the students with self evaluation rubric for monitoring the language growth. They can put effect on the aspect they have accomplished, that they have mastered. Another way to have assessment or feedback and reflections, they can have peer review sessions, because when we are having peer review session, students will have constructed feedback and language support through peer review activities. Their peer will give some compliment. Their peers will give some suggestion for the improvement of their performance, particularly when we are having a writing draft, for example, or presentations, students may have constructive feedback. They will put or they will give some compliment and notes. If the peers create a pronunciation error, for example, they will do an echo corrections. And if we are uh, having some feedback from the peers, I guess students will feel more comfortable to receive and to respond their feedback rather than a direct feedback from the teachers. And one other way to provide feedback and reflections are having a reflection journals where we can ask the students to write journals to promote metacognitions by encouraging students to reflect their language learning journey. Through their journals or their daily journals, we can see the ability of the students to reflect, to grab the important knowledge as well as the implementation of the knowledge on the practice. However, when we do the feedback, there will be some situation where we need differentiated instructions. Engagement and differentiated instructions are relevant because in a diverse classroom, an inclusive classroom, differentiated instruction are critical. We need to adapt the materials and the method to meet diverse needs and learning styles of the students. Maybe we have some students who are actively in writing. Maybe in our classroom we have some students who have low vision. Maybe we have another students with a different learning difficulties or learning disability. So, in this type of situation, engagement is also important, and we need to provide a language support group. We need to provide peer mentorship as well as the language learning community to save the students' confidence. So, creating a safe space for the students by using language support networks will be beneficial for the students, particularly to promote engagement in inclusive classroom strategies. We also need to promote the cultural awareness activities to offer engaging activities to celebrate various cultures and increase cultural empathy. So, how do we address or how do we promote the engagement for inclusive classroom practices? In the previous slides, I have shared some insight or ideas to promote engagement activities. We can have project-based learning, we can have technology, but how about inclusive classroom practice? So you can have different text selection for different type of students. Choosing a variety of tasks that represent diverse culture, different perspective, different experience will be beneficial for the students because it can connect the students with the real world situation and they can foster the sense of inclusion. Not only providing different type of tax selection, but we need to also provide differentiated instruction where we can have tailored teaching method and also we can provide alternative way for the student to engage and demonstrate their understanding about the material. We can also use universal design for learning, as well as we can integrate the cultural responsive teaching to acknowledge and to celebrate students' cultural background. With these type of activities, all students with a different need in an inclusive classroom practice can have an engagement teaching and learning process. Overall, whether we talk about engagement in a regular classes or engagement in an inclusive classes, we need to have a look on the authentic language experience. It will be beneficial for the students if we could provide community engagement as the part of teaching and learning process. Why? Because connecting language learning to the community service, interaction, and practical applications will build the students' awareness toward how the language used naturally in the community. Another authentic language experience that can be promoted is by applying language immersions program where it provides an opportunity for the students to participate in immersive language experiences. By using immersion program, students will have an experiential learning. They can have direct immersive language experiences and they will get the concept since they have experienced the immersions. And last but not least, we have real life language event to promote the language meetup, cultural event, and language specific gathering for authentic practice. So, what are some ideas or practices that can be done in an authentic way? So, this is one of the apps, the speaking website. So, you can go to speechace.com where you can have speaking tests with the computer and they will provide you with a direct instruction, and then when we give responses the system will directly give some assessment. So this is good for you when you want to have a language practice and to see whether your speaking ability can be assessed from a different standardized test level. So as you see on the figure, this website will give you an opportunity to have a look on your IELTS speaking level, on the TOEFL speaking level, as well as on the TOEIC. It can assess your pronunciation, your fluency, your vocabulary, as well as the grammar. Another website that can be used to give automated feedback which promote the engagement in teaching English is the Hemingway apps. So by using Hemingway apps, you can type your text and this website will give you an assessment about your writing's ability. We can have a look of the readability of our writings. On the right sides of the screen, they will put a comment. If it is good, they will write the word good and they can assess the level of our writings. These websites also give you some suggestions for the improvement of your writings. So as we see on the picture here, there are some suggestions about sentence construction and then a phrasal that need to be elaborated and so forth. And one of the most popular websites today is ChatGPT, I guess. So many students use ChatGPT for learning the language. By using ChatGPT wisely, we can have some tutorials for free. So you can, if you need tutorials, you just retype on the ChatGPT. They will provide you with tutorials. If you need quizzes, they can generate quizzes for you. If you need to summarize something, you can have it. As well as if you want to ask questions, they will give you personalized feedback. But of course, recently many people are afraid of the issue of similarity index proposed by ChatGPT. So we have GPT-0 to ensure that students still do something, still paraphrase the result, so they cannot totally rely on ChatGPT. But in some ways, ChatGPT can provide some ideas that help us to learn English and provide an engaging experience, particularly with the key computer-based activity. So as the implication, ladies and gentlemen, there are some pedagogical implications of learning engagement in teaching English. First, we need to ensure that we have student-centered approach because if we do not provide a student-centered approach, students will not get engaged. Embracing student-centered can focus on the active learning, collaboration, and critical thinking. It will also help the students to participate in a discussion and also group activities. The second pedagogical implications that we need to do when we want to have an engaging teaching and learning process, we need to provide diverse texts and perspective. We can provide different culture, we can provide different genre, we can provide different topics so that the students will have cultural sensitivity. Students can have various perspectives. They can have broader understanding about the world. The third pedagogical implications that we can see from the engagement itself is the interactive and the multimodal learning that can be promoted. By using interactive and multimodal learning, we can make sure that technology and multimedia will provide engagement to the students. The engagement may be different. Some students may enjoy audio, some students may enjoy video, some students may enjoy chatting, but each multimodal learning will provide interactive experience. The fourth implications that we can use from having the engagement is talking about the assessment itself. When we have assessment for learning in a creative and engaging way, it can help the students to adjust their knowledge. They can provide a constructive feedback and an opportunity for the students to reflect their learning. And one of the critical implication is the importance of having inquiry-based learning because students need to explore their questions. They need to conduct research. They need to develop the lines of inquiry so that they can have curiosity, critical thinking, and deeper connection to the English language and literature. Do not forget that we need to pay attention to the inclusive teaching practice because not all students have a similar need. They are unique. Every student is unique, and in inclusive classroom environment where all students are having their own needs and different background, the use of inclusive teaching method will be beneficial for the engagement. If we can foster a love for reading, I guess students will be more engaged. They can have independent reading, they can have book clubs, they can have discussion about literature, which foster the critical thinking. Again, differentiated instruction, real-world application, and the ability to reflect and adapt of the teaching and learning itself will help us as a teacher to promote engaging teaching and learning process. The process, the content, the product, and the result of the learning can be very memorable for the students. We do hope that by looking at this implication, students could have an experiential learning and innovative learning experience. Thank you. That would be all for me. And we are welcome for question or comment. Thank you. Back to the presents. Feel free to give questions or comment on your chat box. If okay, so we have a questions on the box here. If I read many books, that is possible to improve my skills? Of course. Thank you for the questions. It's a very great questions. So when you read books, it's very useful for you to improve your skills. But you need to find a text which is important and also address your level. So if you are familiar with a graded readers, if you are learning English, for examples, there are several level of reading that can help readers to get a suitable reading text for their learning process. So reading will be very useful, particularly extensive reading. If you like to read newspaper, if you like to read, sometimes people like to read articles. Sometimes they like to read advertisement or any other readings. We can have an authentic materials that we can read. Of course, it can improve your skills. Yeah, all of your language skills. By reading, you are having a great numbers of vocabulary. You will acquire the vocabulary unconsciously, and later, what you need to do is only apply the vocabulary into practice, because if we do not practice it, sometimes it just keep on our short-term memory. Yeah, hopefully it can answer your questions. Thank you. Thank you for the responses, audience. Any other comment or questions?
Thank you so much, ma'am, for a rich content presentation which can impact our knowledge seeker surely. After your presentation, I hope our knowledge seeker can learn something new, which was our only intention. Learn and grow together, IGP knowledge seeker. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your presentation. Now, ma'am, it's time for a question answer session, which is the one more valuable part of our regular webinar. Honorable ma'am, please stay with us. After a short video, we will back in our session part 2, which is the question answer part. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Welcome back, ma'am. Welcome back to our participant, dear IGP knowledge seeker. Please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Ma'am, after your wonderful presentation, our participant can understand the topic very clearly. That's why no questions from our participant. So once again, thank you so much, ma'am, for your time in IGP. We have learned a lot from you with new topic. It will add some value to our day-to-day activity along with our academic and professional growth. Honorable ma'am, hope to see you again with a new topic and a new read. Thank you, ma'am. Take care.
Thank you.
Honorable ma'am, before we move to the next, if you want to leave this studio, you can. Yeah, IGP knowledge is time for the webinar certification process, the most attractive and powerful part of our regular webinar. After a short video, we will start our webinar certification. After webinar certification, we have an online quiz competition and quiz certification. Dear IGP knowledge seeker, please ask your question in the comment box as much as you want to know from our speaker. Thank you. After question answer, we have a webinar certification and online quiz competition. Certification process. Visit www.eduigp.com. Please make sure your presence on our website. Find a learning session and get enrolled. After watching completing part 1, move to the next with the learning test passing negative person if passed. Back to the course again to download your certificate. If failed to retake the course, download your certificate in PDF. For your attention, I'm going to share the procedure again. Visit www.eduigp.com and sign up or sign in. Without this, you cannot join live quiz competition anymore. Browse the live quiz button or given link. Find the running calendar. After watching competing part 1, move to the next, which is the learning test passing mark. Get a person. If passed, back to the course again to download the certificate. If failed to retake the quiz, download the certificate in PDF or GPT. Dear IGP Knowledge Seeker, it's time for the most engaging part of this webinar, which is an online quiz competition, which is our regular webinar activity. We change a few process for online quiz competition. Note that after live, no one can participate. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Now, time for the online quiz competition. To join the online quiz competition properly, please follow my instruction carefully. Visit www.eduigp.com, sign up or sign in. Without this, you cannot join live quiz competition anymore. Browse the live quiz button or given link, find the session name and join with your logged website or user account. Click join and wait for a few minutes for others to join. Enjoy an online live quiz competition. After the quiz, we will issue certificate for top 10 as previously, which you can find on our official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Profession. After a short video, we will start our quiz session. With 17 people, we are going to start our quiz session right now. First question is, teaching blocking word is done in engaging stage. Is it true or false? Option 2 is the right answer. 92% people are right here. Second question is, student engagement is not much important in teaching. Is it true or false? ওই তো নীলু যেখানে আছে ওখানেই রেখে দাও। এসো তো তোমার মা পিসিমণি ঠিক আছে তো? আমরা আবার কবে ঠিক থাকবো তা জানি না। আছে এই যা এই অনুষ্ঠানে নিয়ম রক্ষার কারণেই আসে। Option 2 is the right answer. 100% people are right here. Our third question is, what language is used for teaching beside English in Canada? Is it option 1 or option 2? খুব দেখতে ইচ্ছে করছিল। তুই এসেছিস, তুই জানিস কখন থেকে ভাবছি তোরা কখন আসবি। ভালো আছিস তো? Option 2 is the right answer. 100% people are right here. Our next question is, why do professional educators utilize engage method in their teaching? Is it option 1 or option 2? তুই ঠিক আছিস তো? সামলাতে পারছো তো? তোমার শ্বশুরবাড়ির লোকজন তোমার সাথে ঠিকমতো ব্যবহার করছে? Option 2 is the right answer. 36% people are right here. Our next question is, students' engagement is the important keyword in online teaching. Is it true or false? কোথায় গেল? ঢুকে গেল নাকি? Option 1 is the right answer. 100% people are right here. Our next question is, A trend in teaching to increase engagement today is it option 1 or option 2? Option 2 is the right answer. 46% people are right here. Our next question is using technology in your teaching can increase student engagement. Is it option 2? Option 1 is the right answer. 100% people are right here. Our next question is why do professional educators utilize engagement method in their teaching? Is it option 1 or option 2? Option 1 is the right answer. 53% people are right here. Second last question of the session is student engagement in learning is the dash the framework for teaching. Is it option 1 or option 2? Option 1 is the right answer. 100% people are right here. Our last and final question of the session is encouraging learner engagement is under which teaching process in STP? Is it option 1 or option 2? Option 2 is the right answer. 13% people are right here. Congratulations to our online quiz competition winner top 10. Congratulations again. We will take a few minutes for finalize the result. After that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professionals. Congratulations to our online quiz competition winner top 10. Congratulations again. We will take a few minutes for finalize the result. After that, we will issue our online quiz competition certificate on official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professionals. Congratulations to our online quiz competition winner top 10. Congratulations again. We will take a few minutes for finalize the result. After that, we will issue our online quiz competence certificate on official Facebook page and group Institute of Global Professional. At the end of our session, we can say properly feed your skill, never stop learning, cause life, never stop teaching us. Be happy, stay safe. See you again and again. We want your participation in every program. If you want to live a happy life, try to able not people of things, all but understand. Before I saw hit the unlike button, again wants to thank all IGP knowledge seekers for your active participation as always. See you again in the next session. Thank you.